President Biden remembers LGBTQ survivors for World AIDS Day. On Tuesday, President Biden issued a proclamation for World AIDS Day honoring the survivors of HIV and AIDS, including the LGBTQ plus community. In the statement, he said, quote, "The COVID-19 pandemic has added to the challenges of our heroic healthcare and frontline workers and what they face. Yet they continue to deliver essential HIV prevention services and provide vital care and treatment to people living with HIV. The pandemic has also interrupted HIV research and highlighted the work that still remains to achieve equitable access to HIV prevention, care, and treatment in every community, particularly for communities of color, adolescent girls, young women, and the LGBTQI plus community," end quote. The inclusion of LGBTQ people in a statement recognizing World AIDS Day stands in stark contrast to statements that were made by President Trump, who consistently declined to mention the LGBTQ community in any of those statements. The consistent omissions took place even though top health officials under the Trump administration started the Ending of the HIV Epidemic initiative, which seeks to beat HIV/AIDS by 2030. Last year, White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, asked by the Washington Blade why the LGBTQ community was missing from the 2020 statement. She responded with a false statement that Trump was the first to observe World AIDS Day by adorning the White House with a large red AIDS ribbon. In fact, the practice began under President George W. Bush and then continued through the Obama and Trump administrations. This afternoon, President Biden spoke to the White House in honor of World AIDS Day. Watch this.
We still have a difficult road ahead of us. We can't kid ourselves, particularly addressing the disparities we see both domestically and globally, including the impact of high transmission rates among adolescent girls and young women. And today, as we look back in the past 40 years, where there's been so much pain and suffering, it's a testament to all the hard work represented in this room and around the world that we're gathered today with hope in our hearts and for the future that's within our grasp. We can do this. We can do this. We can eliminate HIV transmission. We can get the epidemic under control here in the United States and in countries around the world. We have the scientific understanding, we have the treatments, and we have the tools we need. We're going to engage with people with lived experience with HIV and ensure that our efforts are appropriate and effective and centered around the needs of the HIV community, not us, centered around the needs of the community. And folks, together, we're going to save lives. I can imagine no higher calling to which we could be dedicated than our commitment to save lives. And this is the one area where we can get a lot more done quickly.
Amazing.
Yeah. You know, I think that after the past 4 years and everything that we've experienced with the previous administration, really being able to see this is restores a little bit of faith. PRISM, it's not only is it World AIDS Day, it's also the start of AIDS Awareness Month, December AIDS Awareness Month, and PRISM is putting together a whole video campaign giving information about AIDS and HIV. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a super important issue that affects our community really deeply, and the fact that it's being recognized.
Yes.
You know, we are in our 5th decade of knowing about the HIV/AIDS virus. I mean, you think about it, goes back 40 years. We're at the start of our 5th decade. And to know where we're going, we have to know where we come from. I talked with Dr. Raquel Lopes at the World AIDS Museum, which is right here in Fort Lauderdale. And she, the displays are amazing, and she graciously gave me a guided tour. And one of the things that was striking is that one of the reasons we've been able to respond so rapidly to the COVID crisis is because that is built on the research techniques and the drug approval rate that was developed during the 80s and 90s. So when we talk about COVID, we're actually and the results we've been able to get, we're also looking at that. So it means something, and I would encourage everybody to go there and look at it, touch, and just feel the history so that we can move progressively forward.
You know, I find all of this incredibly refreshing to have these kind of receptions at the White House again. I was very fortunate to attend 3 of the Pride receptions at the White House under Obama, which were spectacular because you got to see all types of people, actors from Hollywood, from famous TV shows, musicians, people from major cultural institutions, everyone together really being able to revel in being LGBTQ. What's really special about today is that they were very intentional about inviting a series of trans women, leaders from all around across the country, that also included Ariana Lind from Ariana Center. I think we have a photo to show, and she's here pictured with Admiral Rachel Levine. So what an important note, right? Like, we're gonna do all of this, and we're gonna make sure that trans women of color who are leaders throughout the entire country are here represented as well.
Yeah. It's a beautiful moment that I was lucky enough to host Ariana Center's 6th anniversary event last week. Did a 4-part series with Admiral Levine the week before that. The intersection of World AIDS Day today. It's very important. And, you know, it would be so easy for me to go on to a bash of Donald Trump. The one thing that I will say, of which I'm not going to go on a bash of Donald Trump, is what we watched today and how the White House has responded, even to the point that you made of the invitation of Ariana and representation for Ariana Center, is this is what presidents do. They don't scream, they don't shout, they don't call names, they hold people up and they lift America up. And that's what has happened today. And it's refreshing and it's nice to see, again, some normalcy return to our White House.
Absolutely.
Normalcy is right.
His words are so comforting, and for someone like me that grew up or came out in the age where you were talking about HIV and AIDS, and it actually created a jolt. To be here 4 decades later and hear these words and find comfort is a really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ